Hey, this is GunsmithBeard back with another gun video, and I want to thank you guys for coming back. I appreciate your loyalty this week. We did hit the 400 margin. It means a lot to me. I know it's kind of trivial to a lot of people, but I want to thank my followers for making that happen. Also want to thank our channel supporters, BROWNELLS, SWAMPFOX Optics, and Shooter Innovations. Big thank you. So this week we're going to talk about my M4 A1 by Daniel Defense. You guys have seen it in a previous video, but we kind of danced around what light we're going to put on it. So we're going to go through that and kind of go through the frustration of hardware and getting everything to be cross compatible and the compatibilities between mounts and all that stuff. It's always a headache. It's always frustrating. So unless you do it all the time, or if you've done quite a few weapon systems, it can be kind of confusing. So let's take a quick look at my setup and we'll come back and talk about it. All right, welcome back guys. We're gonna talk about my setup in greater detail. I know you guys had a real quick look of the setup, and so let's talk about each component and that process that I went through so you guys can get a good reference of how my setup is, what I used, and even one of the mistakes that I made when doing this setup. So the flashlight we went with, here is the box. It is a Modlite. It is the PLHv2 model 18350 Scout. And so if we open up the box, the body of the flashlight and all of that is kind of tucked in this little space in the styrofoam. Inside the box there was the battery itself, there's the charger, and then the charging power cable. And so you can order it complete. You can order it with the battery, charger, and charging cable with no tail cap, or you can order no charger, no tail cap. So you can order it either way you want from Brownells. They offer 3 different options. And also if you want, instead of black, you want flat dark earth, you can 100% do that. To be honest, Modlite's flat dark earth doesn't really look like flat dark earth to me. It's kind of like a weird bronze color, like a light bronze color. So that's the flashlight I went with. Modlite is pricey, but I said in the last video of my M4 A1 that I did of my Daniel Defense rifle, I wanted to go with something besides Streamlight and Surefire because I have a lot of those. I wanted something different. I really wanted a Cloud Defense, but if you go on Brownell's website, they don't actually carry Cloud Defense really anymore. They had Modlite, so I picked up the Modlite. I've never had a Modlite, so I figured it'd be a good time to try that. And so far, I'm really happy. It is the brightest flashlight I own. And if I remember, you guys can correct me on the specs, but it's anywhere from like 1300 to 1500 lumens. And I think a lot of my Streamlights or even my Surefires, they get to about 1,000 depending on which light it is. So this is, and it is, I tested it with my Surefire Scout. It is noticeably brighter. And maybe it's because the battery setup, instead of running the 123As, it runs its proprietary battery that you have to have, you know, the charger with it. So let's take another look at this setup again. Just real quick for safety purposes, I have a flag in, no mag, no ammo. My weapon is clear. So if I flag the camera, just remember there's nobody behind it. It's on a tripod, and so you're perfectly safe on YouTube, and nothing bad is going to happen to you or me. But let's talk about my setup really quick. So this is the 18-350 Scout. It's the shorter one. The mount that I originally went with that did not work was the Midwest Industries Scout Light Picatinny mount extended, and everything worked on this but the hole spacing. So even the threads on the holes were perfect, and I tried to figure out if this was going to work, but this is one of the frustrating things that happens is when you're looking for mounts or accessories and then you go on the manufacturer's website and there's no information about compatibility, just hardly anything. And the sad thing is Brownells is no exception to that rule, because they basically copy and paste information from manufacturer websites to their website, and so I couldn't figure out if the mount would work or not. On the Midwest Industries, they were closed when I was trying to order all this stuff, so I didn't call them. Next time, hindsight, 2020, I would have called them and say, hey, will this work, and get the word straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And I should have, but now that doesn't work. There was not enough information on either website to determine if it'd work or not, and that's what's really frustrating. You're trying to figure out compatibility between mount, light, and switches and tapes and pressure switches and mounts and mounts for tape. It's like, good God, no one puts enough information on there to be able to do it correctly and flawlessly. And so I fell victim, and that's pretty bad. I was a gunsmith for Brownells for about 5.5 years, and so I knew my way around gun parts and firearms, and I still fell victim to that. So I feel you. It's frustrating, it's aggravating, and no one likes returning anything. So that is my first mistake, was the mount was wrong. So what did I do? I'm gonna put this down because the Import A1, especially now it's all decked out, is not light. So here's the mount I went with. Arasaka, if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not really good at Japanese, but Arasaka is the mount I went with. This is the OSM-P, which means offset scout mount / Picatinny. And here's the back of the container. They do, even though it's a super Japanese name, they do say it's made 100% in the USA, which is pretty awesome. So this is the mount I went with. This was about $55, where this one I got wrong was about $80. So take that as you may. The pressure switch or tape, I wanted to try this Cloud Defense LCS, which means light control system, and it does have cable management also. And what they mean by that is this is a CNC'd aluminum body, and then it has a groove cut into the side panels that kind of squeeze together. That allows you to run the cable back through and double back on itself, and it's really hard to get a really good picture of it, but you can see my wire goes out and then back through the hardware, then comes back out here, so I don't have to zip tie wires. It not only gives me a strong construction for my pressure switch or tape, and also manages my cable for me, so it kind of kills two birds with one stone. So surefire in cap there I had to buy, because the one I got didn't come with it. And so that's pretty much my setup. I went with Cloud Defense for the pressure switch or tape. I went with Arasaka for the mount, and I went with the Modlite. First one, so far I'm super happy with it. It is super bright. So that's my setup. It's very, very compact. I love kind of where it is and how it works. And so let me know what you guys have for your setup on your light. If you like my setup, I will leave detailed information in the description if you want to know exactly what parts I got. I did get almost all of them from Brownells. They were out of the OSM-P mount by Arasaka on Brownells website, so I got it elsewhere. But everything else I got from Brownells. So if you want to shop there, I would highly recommend them. You can kind of get everything together. They might have this back in stock. I haven't checked. So thank you guys for your time as always. I really appreciate it. I promised I would come back and do a video on what light I was mounting, so I'm trying to deliver on that promise. And if you guys have any questions or concerns or even feedback, positive or negative, I'd love to hear about it. And thank you as always, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.